Hello everyone, welcome to our channel YouTube. Today in this video, me and my classmate, we are going to present you to make oral presentation about sociolinguistics project. Our theme is talk about language planning. So in this video, we are going to discuss about definition of language planning and the purposes of language planning, the aims of language planning and objectives, and we are going to discuss about the relationship between sociolinguistics and language planning, and we make a sample practical example of language planning, inshallah. So let's go to the video. Go ahead.
Okay. Today we are going to discuss about language planning. So presented by Abdul Mumin Mohammed Amar, Shalal Sabrina, Alwash Lydia, Rebo Khadija. This topic is concerning sociolinguistic project. So supervised by Ms. Utanzabet. So now we have abstract of this paper. It is language planning is an important file for anyone interested in language policy, education, of the promotion of linguistic and cultural diversity. So this paper we are going to discuss about many things, include chapter 1 and chapter 2. In chapter 1 we are going to discuss about general introduction, aims and purpose of language planning, the concept and the stages process of language planning. For chapter 2 we are going to discuss about the main process and normalization and standardization. So here we have introduction of language plan definition. So it is refer to the deliberate effort influencing to use structure of function of language. But in definition of language planning, we can say that language planning is a conscious and purposeful attempt to shape how language is used. Of course, we have concrete structure of language and the function and the status of language, or we can say that the development of language. So here we have the aims of language planning. The first one, language planning is to facilitate communication. The second, understanding among speakers of different languages while respecting and evaluating linguistic diversity. And the last one, the third one, and promoting exclusive language practice that ensure equitable access to public service and resource for all members of society. We have a lot of aims, but we select three this because it is the best one with the aims of this project. We have the fourth one is the purpose of language planning, which example. Firstly, language preservation. We have second, language standardization, and we have language promotion and multilingualism. Language preservation can help to preserve languages that are at risk of disappearing, like we can say deaf languages and so on. But about standardization, for example, we have academic Francis and so on. We have the concept of language planning. We have three concepts of language planning. First one, language policy and language agency. That is the relationship between language policy and language agency, because it is something both of them has many important to language. And the second, we have language status and language shifts. And the third one, we have language standardization and revitalization, that is focused on language planning. So now we have, why is language planning needed? So of course we need language planning because to support the use and development of language in ways that promote social, cultural and economic business and so on. Moreover, language planning is needed for several reasons: maintaining linguistic and promoting social, enhancing economic opportunities, and preserving cultural heritage and improving communication and of course understanding. Now we have the process of language planning. We have different process. Firstly, we have need analysis, we have setting objectives, we have formulating strategies, and the implementation and monitoring and evaluation. This process has many important roles in language planning, especially the first one, needs analysis and setting objective. As you know, everything has the aims and has objective, specific and specific need. Now we have types of and approaches of language planning. There are various types and approaches to language planning, including status planning and corpus planning. Status planning is like, just we can say that the status of languages, and corpus planning and acquisition planning. But for approaches, we have different approaches: bottom-up approaches, collaborative approaches, top-down approaches, and we have many, but we select three of them because it is the best approaches of language planning. Now we have stages of language planning. The stage of language planning, we have several stages involved in the process of language planning, including initial assessment, goal setting, strategy development, monitoring and evaluation, and maintenance and refinement. Those are the several stages of language planning that play an important role in language planning. Now we have chapter 2. Firstly, in chapter 2, we have language planning in sociolinguistics. So here, language planning and sociolinguistics are two closely related fields within linguistics that deal with the study and analysis of language use and language policy. Because when you take language planning itself, it is involves the deliberate effort to influence the development structure and use of language or languages. But sociology, on the other hand, is the studies of relation between language and society. Now we have main principles of language planning. The main principle of language planning include goals. We can say that it is objective. You have to select or setting goals specific that are defined based on the need analysis. Second, evaluation. You have to evaluate the process of language planning. And third one, we have participation. And fourth one, we have implementation. Of course, implementation is play an important role in language planning because you have to implement something or to design something. Now we have the objectives of language planning. Here we have several objectives of language planning in breaks. First, we have standardization. It is meant to create or to promote or to design a standardization form of language. Second, we have modernization. It is adapting a language to changing societal needs. And third one, we have promotion, supporting the use and prestige of language or language variety and multilingualism, and so on. Now we have to make the differences or relationship between normalization and standardization. Both of them are important aspects of language planning as they help to promote or to designing the development of relegation. Because, for example, the first one, normalization can help to make a language more accessible and more easier. Then standardization can help to establish common form of the languages and the meaning, of course. Now we have some examples of language planning. Like we have included 3 examples: French, Hebrew, and Tamazight. French has long history of language planning with effort dating back. For example, when you take in 1944, the French government passed the Tuben law. We can say that Tuben law and official setting to promote this language. Second one, Hebrew. Hebrew, it is like official language of Israel. And then we have Tamazight. Tamazight has important role in Algeria and Morocco and Tunisia. Now we have practical examples of language planning. Just is practical, or we can say sample examples of language planning. You have to select the name of document. You have to include the names of language. And the first step, you make introduction. Second step, in body. We can say in body, we can make the status of language. Language is used in all world. It is international world and the goals of languages. Now about the conclusion. In conclusion, language planning is an international and systematic process of making decisions about language use in a society or community. It involves identifying language needs and goals, formulating policy and strategy, and to implementing, evaluating them. Language planning can be undertaken by government, educational organization, and so on, like stakeholders and so on. Now we finish for this presentation. Thank you for your attention. That is all about language planning. There are many things, but we include the main points because we cannot include everything. Just we make a summary of the main points of this topic, language planning. Of course, there are several many points of this topic, but we select the most important because we have not. If the video is still long, so we cannot make attention to understand all. 10 names that we have: Abdulmumin Muhammad Amar, Sharel Sabrina, Alosh Lydia, Rebo Khadija, and all this is guided by or supervised by our teacher, Mesa Utem Zabet. Thank you so much for your attention, for your staying to listen for this video. See you next time. Bye bye.
Okay. That is all for this presentation. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.